Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we'll be continuing from where we have left in our previous video, which is we were building a fully responsive website by looking at the PNG or the image of the design, which I found on Behance. Now the link to the Behance post will be in the description, so you guys can check the post out, and also you can check out the owners who have built this amazing design. Now, in our previous video, we have already created this cover section. So in this video, we'll be building this. So this about section, the services section, and also this top portion of this client section. Now, this testimonial slider and along with the other stuff, we'll be doing it in our next video, which will be the final part of this website. And also we'll add some interactiveness by adding some animations. So in the next video, we'll kind of finish up the entire website and you can use it for free then, since it will be complete. Now, if you look at the finished project or the finished project of this video, or at least to how far we have done it. So this is the one. So you can see we have the heading, we have the courses, we have the heading for what makes us different, and also the text, these cards, and then so these cards for the solutions, and then the top portion of the client. Now if I resize it, wait a second, if I were to resize, you can see that it is fully responsive. So these stack up, and then we have the about, and then these cards along with the solution cards, something like this, and also this section. So yeah, so link to this would be down in the description, so you guys can check out, and also the source code of this would be in the description as well. So make sure to download and check out. Now this is the updated version. So if you have been using the old version, so that doesn't really have the images which will be used for this. So in this one, we have added the images for these, along with the images or icons of these, along with the awards images. So yeah, if you haven't downloaded it, make sure to download and use this, since this has all the necessary files you need to design this. So yeah, with that being said, let's get started and let's build this. Now before beginning, if you're new to the channel and if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe, and also please leave a comment down just so that I can know that you're interacting with the video and you're liking it. Now, if you have any confusion or queries regarding the code, you can comment down below and I'll make sure to reply. And yeah, share it with your friends and family, share it with the ones who actually need. And yeah, let's start. So in the previous video, we designed this cover section. So in today's video, we'll be doing this about the services and also this top portion of this client section. Now this slider is going to be left out, since we're going to be doing this in the next part, which will be our final video of this series, when we'll also add all the different stuff that are left out, and we'll also add some animations so that the website becomes more interactive and it is more fun. So yeah, with that being said, let's start and let's dive into the HTML and CSS. So for this section, so we have created the structure of the entire page. So now in the about, we need the container, since we want the margin from left and right. Now, if you guys haven't followed out the previous video, please make sure to watch that, or else this part is kind of going to be a bit confusing. You wouldn't really know that what we're using, where is this container, and all the different styles. So please make sure to watch the previous video and then come back and watch this. So we have this container, and then inside of it, we're going to have the paragraph for this heading, and then we're going to have a div with the name of courses, wherein we're going to have all these courses inside of a course div. Let's add the images. All right. And then we'd have a Bootstrap class of row, since we're going to be using here the Bootstrap Grid system. Now you'd see that we have 3 columns here. Now what I want to do is, since these columns are kind of equal in width, now we already know that Bootstrap Grid is a 12 column based grid. So basically, if I want this row to be divided into 3 equal columns, so that means each column here needs to be of width of 4. So this needs to be column of width of 4, 4 and 4. When you add up, it becomes 12. So what I can do here is I can add a call MD4, call MD4 and call MD4. Now this MD here means that whenever your screen size is less than 768 pixels, each individual column would take up the entire width. Now, whenever you're not on medium devices, this would take up 4 column width. But then if you're on any devices wherein the screen width is less than 768 pixels, each individual row would take up the entire size or the entire width of the row. And then they would kind of stack on top of each other. So let's add some content here. Let's add lorem. Let's copy and paste it here, just so that I can explain you what is actually going on. Now, if you're wondering, we have few other types as well. So this MD is for medium, LG is for large, XL is for extra large, and then we have SM for small. And then if you want to add for extra smalls, we don't have actually any class for extra smalls. We just have call-6, which basically targets all the small devices. Let's save and let's see. So you would see that right after this, you'd see that we have 3 columns, and now each of them are equal in width. Now, as the size of the browser shrinks to less than 768, you see they kind of stack on top of each other. Now, if I don't want them to stack, what I need to do is I need to specify another column. Let's say call SM6, all SM6, and call SM6. Now, what this means is for smaller screens, you want each column or each div to take up 50%. Since remember, we know that one row has 12 columns. So if one div takes 6, then the next div would have only a space of 6. So this is what it means of having like 50-50. So first row, this one has 50%, this one has 50%, and then the next one goes and moves down to the next row, which is this. And if we had another here, let's copy and paste, this would come right next to this. All right, let's remove it as of now. So in these columns, what we essentially need is we need a section heading. First, we need a section heading, which is this. Now, this section heading is kind of like a utility class, which we're going to be using in multiple places. So this one is being used here, also here, and also in these sections as well. So this will help a lot. So let's add it as a utility class, and then we'd add our heading, and then a span with the text, and then a break tag, and then our btn dark class, which we built in our previous video. Now for these 2 columns, we can have a card of the type of card border. Now the reason for having this name card border is because the first reason is I kind of suck naming these, and the second one is I felt that since this has kind of like a border on top, so I think it would be easier to name it card border. So yeah, we'd have card border, when we're going to have a span with the name of index, just so we can have the numbering of what number of card it is. And then we have a utility class which would change or add the color of the text. Since you would see that all of these have different colors. This one is purple, green, blue, and yellow. So we're going to have 4 specific utility classes. And you would know that this is really helpful. You would know in a second where this is helping. So these 4 utility classes can also be used in these areas, you see. So we can essentially use a section heading to have this, and then we can add or pair it up with the txt purple, and we're going to have a text of width such as this, but then the color would be purple. So we're going to have the span, we're going to have the border, we're going to have the p tag for kind of like the heading of the card, and then span for the text. And then I'm going to paste in another card border since we have two in one column. And then I paste the other two in the other column. Now, essentially, you could have nested here a row inside of another row. What I mean by is that you could have added a row here for the entire big row. And here you could have added a column of 4. And then here, column of 8 would be left. And then inside of that column of 8, you could have created another row. So stuff might be confusing. So I'll show you in a different section how you can do it that way, the way where you nest rows and you create these. So yeah, this section is done. Now let's target the services. When we have the container, we have a paragraph with solutions, section heading with the heading, and span with the text, and then row when we have 4 cards, so we could have added a call MD3 4 times for 4 equal. But what I wanted is for small screens, I want to have 2 cards in each row. So for larger screens, it's okay. So for larger screens, I want to show all the 4. But then for small screens, I want 50-50. So call SM6. So we would have 4 such cards, and we're going to have a card of service since this is more like a service section. So I just thought it would be okay to write the name of the class as card service. Now here we'd have the icon, this, and then the paragraph with the heading, and then span with the text, and also the arrow icon inside of the div arrow. Now let's paste this. All right, so we're done with the services section as well. Now for the client section, we'd have the container, we'd have the row, and then you could have a column MD6 for this, and then you would have a section heading which would say innovating with talent leaders for this, and then inside of this you could have awards when we have 4 award divs with 4 images of awards, and then you can have another call MD6 for this, within which you can have a row, which I was just saying how you could nest. So you can have a row inside of this div, and then you can have this column of 6, which is basically in every screen size, you would have this div take up 50% of the size of the row. And here you can have section with text purple, section heading with text purple of this, and then span of this, and then again a call 6 for this one, then for this, and then last one for this. So we're done with our HTML. Let's move to the CSS. In the CSS, first let's target the about, and I want to give some padding. So I'll give padding 6 rem from top and bottom, and left and right 0. So here it is. And then the paragraph font size, and I also want to increase the font weight, and the text needs to be at the center with margin bottom. Now let's target the courses with, and also we want to have display flex and flex wrap, since whenever we change the screen size of the browser, we want the courses to kind of wrap around. So we would have that, and justify content and align items to center so that when they wrap, they're at the center basically. And each course should have a gap of 1 rem with margin bottom of 8 rem. Now let's target the course. We're going to give a background, a height and width, and also display flex, align items, and justify content to center, since the course would have a background, but then the image should be at the center. And also padding. Now we're going to target the image. We're going to give them width 100% and object fit of contain. All right, you see? All those are aligned so well. Now we're going to target the section heading. We're going to give it font size of 3.6 rem with font weight, let's say Okay, it's looking good. Now we're going to target the about span. So all the span that about has. Now we want it to have display block. Now I'm hoping that you guys already know that span tags are inline, so you cannot add margin to those. So you need to add display block first, and then you need to add margin. So margin top and bottom 1 rem, line height of 1.5, and a color of this. Now the anchor tag, we want to have margin bottom of 4 rem, and then display of inline block, so that we can have this margin bottom, or else if you don't have this, then this margin won't take into effect, since anchor tags are also inline elements. Now the card border, we're going to have width of 100%. So basically I want the card to take the entire width of the column. And then a flex direction of column with align items to flex start, we want everything on the left. And then margin bottom of 3 rem, let's save. And then the border needs to be 100% width with height of this and the background color of this. Now remember, we had some styling for the about span and also for the paragraph of the about. Card border also uses the span and also uses the paragraph. So we want to remove that styling. So we want to remove the margin. And also for the paragraph, we also want to add a margin block, or basically top and bottom of 1 rem, and font size of 1.6. And for the span, we want to have line height of 1.5. Now for the index, we want to have font weight of 800. And then we're going to add our utility classes of purple, green, blue, and yellow. Let's save, and you can see. Now the same got added here, and you see, we did not have to style it separately. Now for the services, same, we want to have the same padding of 6 rem for top and bottom, and left 0. Now text needs to be at the center with linear gradient background. If you look at the design, we have linear gradient background. So I'm going to be copying this color and also this color, and I'll paste it. Let's save. Okay. And then the paragraph, we're going to give font size and also color, font weight. Let's save. Okay. Now the span, font size, display block, width of 100 characters, and max width of 90%, since sometimes maybe these 100 characters may exceed the width, so we want to have a max width of 90%. And then a margin auto, we want the text to be at the center, so yeah. A margin block and margin bottom. So from top, so instead of here having block, I could have written top, but yeah, it is what it is. So we have, from top we have 1 rem, and from bottom I have 5 rem. Our service width 100% and height of 25 rem. Now the reason for adding a height for car service instead of padding, some may want to add padding. The reason for giving it a height is because if you look closer, you see that each of these card have a fixed height. So I didn't want to ruin the height. So that is the reason why I'm having a fixed height. So in case if the content increases, so the height wouldn't really increase. But if you had added padding, then the sizes of each of the card might have been different, depending upon how many characters of content you have. So here you can have display flex with column, with align items to flex start and also justify content to center. Padding of left and right 5 rem and a background of white with border radius of 2 rem, position relative, since the arrow button is gonna be placed absolutely, and a margin bottom of 5 rem. Now we're going to target the span inside of services. We're going to give it width 100%, margin 0, text align of start, or you could have written left, and a margin block of 1 rem. And then for the paragraph, same text align, start, font size, and color. And now for the icon, we're going to give margin bottom of 1 rem, and then the image inside of the icon, we're gonna width of 5 rem and object fit to contain. Now we're gonna target the arrow. We're gonna give it position absolute with bottom 0, left 50%, and transform translate minus 50% along the x-axis, and y-axis we want 50%. Let's save. Let's give it height and width so that we can evenly circle it using border radius of 50% and a background of white. Now, since we want this arrow icon to be at the center, we can add display grid, place content to center, and we can increase the font size and give the color of purple and give it a box shadow. So we are done with both of these sections. Now the only one that is left is our client section. For the clients, we can have padding, same padding of top and bottom of 6 rem and left and right 0. And the span, we're gonna give font size of this, color of this, and width of 25 characters, and a display of inline block, since or else we won't be able to give this margin top of 1 rem. And we target the awards. Width needs to be 80% with display flex, justify content to center, align items to center, and each award of 25% of width and 15 rem of height. Since we have 4 awards, so if we divide 100% by 4, we have 25%. So each would have 25% of width. With display flex, justify content, center, align items to center. So the image would be at the center. Now we're going to target the image with 8 rem of height and object fit of contained. Okay, well fit. And yeah, so now in the responsiveness, we might see some issues which we need to fix. So if you see for the medium, for the screen size of less than 768, you see that this is taking the entire width of the column. But if you look at this one, since we have specified SM6, so for smaller screens, it is taking 2 cards each for one specific row. You see? Okay, so for the responsiveness, first let's give the image a max height of 90%. Let's save. Now, if you look here for the smaller screens, these are way too small. So what we need to do is we're going to target this about span. We're going to increase the font size. Also the services span will increase the font size. And then let's save. You see, looks good. And then for each section, if I shrink it a bit more, you'd see they're kind of attached at the corners, so which I don't want. So for screen size of less than 575 pixels, I want the section to have an inline padding, which is basically left and right, of 3 rem. Let's save. And yeah, there we go. And I've also added this padding inline in the nav, so that the navigation also has a padding left and right of 3. And then we're going to target the card service, padding 0 from top and bottom, but left and right 2 rem. Okay, so this one, height would be 18 rem. So I've just decreased the height, and yeah, there you have it. So I'll upload this in Netlify. Hopefully, in the intro, I might have showcased this. So yeah, you can check this in the link. So link will be in the description, and also the source code of this video is in the description. So make sure to go and download from the source code. And yeah, so in the next video, we'll finish up the rest of the stuff, and also we'll add the slider functionality along with the animations, and we'll make the website complete, and we'll have it all the interactiveness necessary to make it look sleek and unique. So with that being said, hope you learned something from this video. Meet you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Have a good day.